Well, hello everybody, and welcome back to Bosses Only, the video series where we look at just the bosses from a dungeon. Because you're not stuck on trash, you're stuck on bosses. From the Stonethorn DLC, this is Stone Garden, and the first boss we're going to be facing in here is one of those great big hunky werewolf things, so let's go pay him a visit. And of course, let's turn on the hard mode, because why wouldn't we do that? So, Tank, you know the routine here. Taunt him, turn him away from everybody else, start shooting him in the bum. The first mechanic we're going to talk about is the charge. He's going to pick a person, it's usually whoever's furthest away from everybody else, and charge at them. That person needs to dodge roll or block. If they don't, they'll die. The boss has also got this move you've just seen. He raises his fists up and slams them down into the ground. There's a huge circle, and then loads of smaller circles with poo flying all over the place. That big, huge circle, as soon as you see it, dodge roll out. If you are in it when he hits the floor, you're gonna die. The boss also does these big wind-up heavy attacks. Tank can dodge roll those because they will shred your health, even through block. Now, watch out for the move the boss is about to do. It's called Blood Rage. He will channel and scream. Everybody gets knocked back. You need to break free immediately and bash the boss, because this is going to decimate your resources and end up killing you all. Again, the boss does the charge. Whoever is kiting on purpose needs to watch out for that and be vigilant. Get out of the way real quick, block or dodge roll. Either way, just don't take that hit unblocked or you're going to die. Keep your eye out for this again, the big thump. Don't be in that circle when it hits. And again, we've got the scream. Everybody gets knocked back. You need to break free, run forward, and bash him immediately, or your resources are going to disappear. More big heavy slashes, just dodge roll them, and it's not too bad. It's only bad if you get hit. You're going to see that big wind-up heavy attack again. Tank just needs to dodge roll side to side to avoid being hit by it. And again, we're going to have the huge circle. Make sure you get out of it, or you'll die. Well, he's almost dead. We'll probably have him killed before we can even get a res at this point, so enjoy Deado vision for a second while we finish off the boss. Very dank. He's almost down, and there he goes. Let's just speed this up so that we can stop being a ghost and loot our lockpicks. And then we'll head through this door over here, which will bring us to the first piece of optional side content. It's not a side boss like in other dungeons, it's just a buff. When you come in these little side rooms, turn the little dial on the pipe, and that'll prevent Blood Knights from spawning during the final boss fight, which can make that a little easier. But kill the Blood Knights that are in these rooms to get the 𝕊𝕐𝕐. Combine that 𝕊𝕐𝕐 with some other ingredients to give yourself a special buff to make you stronger. There are 3 of these in total, but for now, let's go to boss number 2, the Stone Behemoth, and of course we'll turn on the hard mode. So, Tank, again, you know the drill. Taunt him, turn him away from everybody else, start shooting him in the bum. There is a lot of AoE in this fight. You'll see the boss is constantly throwing little circles all over the floor of every different elemental type. Sometimes they're little electrical explosions, sometimes they're fire circles, sometimes they're ice circles, and they go all over the place, and you've just got to kite around and avoid them. Also, along this wall, you'll see these inactive stone husks, but they periodically will be brought to life. Then they start shooting out that laser beam with the circle, and it'll follow a random player. There's no real way to control who gets targeted. It's going to be someone in the group. What we do is we just have the tank stand right there by them so that they are taking damage while the boss is getting attacked, and hopefully just by virtue of the tank being right there, he'll get targeted with all the little laser circles because he's right there, but there's no guarantees. It could be any random person, so just be vigilant and be ready to kite and run around. So the only other major mechanic to really look out for in this fight, the boss is going to bash both his fists together and do a gigantic room-wide explosion. You need to get to the very, very edge of the room when you see the huge AoE, because as soon as that explodes, if you're in there, you could end up dead. The tank is usually fine just staying in there and blocking, but everybody else really needs to get as far away from the epicenter of that big explosion as possible. That's about the hardest hitting mechanic in this fight. Other than that, it's all fairly rinse and repeat. Keep your eye on the smaller stone husks along the edge, and when one comes to life, just tank position the boss close to it so that it gets taken down in splash damage. Everybody else, watch out for the laser beams that come out from them and kite around. Watch out for all the different elemental circles. The boss himself isn't too bad. He's just an enormous wall of health. It's all the AoEs and other stuff you need to watch out for. And speaking of AoEs, he's about to do the mechanic I was just describing. He's going to put his fists together. He makes a humongous circle. Get out of it, because this explosion will kill anyone but the tank if they're not out of it in time. Looks like we did lose someone, but that was a practice. So we'll get them rezzed and we'll carry on. At this point, you've heard all of the different mechanics, so you know what? I'm just going to speed it up until he's dead, because you really don't need to see this. You know everything to look out for, everything to avoid. Let's get this boss killed so that we can move on. He is dead, very dank. Loot your lockpicks and manganese and we'll head through to the next area where you can get the second optional buff. Now, like I said earlier, when you enter these side rooms, there's going to be a Bloodknight ad and some other tough mobs that you'll need to kill, but the Bloodknight is important. Kill him and loot the 𝕊𝕂 and then take it to the alchemy table in each room. You need that 𝕊𝕂 to combine with some other ingredients to make a special buff, or there's a weaker version using just the 𝕊𝕂 by itself. There's also a little dial in each of these side rooms, which if you turn it, will disable the final boss's ability to summon extra Bloodknight ads during that fight, which makes it a lot harder. Speaking of the final boss, here we are in his room. After he's blathered on for a bit, he's going to create these pools on the floor. Everybody go synergize one and you'll be transformed into a werewolf behemoth. All you have to do during this part is beat up these little vent things and then the boss will come down. But you'll notice all your skills have been changed while you're a werewolf, and that is going to be very important during this fight. Now that that first initial phase is over, it's time to turn on hard mode and get ready to take on the final boss, Arkasis, the Mad Alchemist. And I can't lie to you, this is an incredibly tough boss fight, possibly the single most difficult final boss hard mode of any dungeon in the entire game, at least in my opinion as tank, and you'll see why I have that opinion. Pay attention to my health bar in the top left and you'll see how much it's just constantly fluctuating. This fight is nothing but dots and pain. So, for the first phase, we bring the boss to the back half of the room. We're hanging out here, you see the stone husks. We're going to be fighting those, so we need to be near them when the werewolf phases start. During this first phase against the boss, you'll see he summons these fire circles and then a flame shoots out of them and it creates more circles. Wait until that's all bounced around and you see where they are, and then don't be in them. Also watch out for these spinning fire tornadoes that go all the way around the room, and the tank is going to watch out because every time the boss smacks him with his little flaming sword, that's going to put a dot on him too. There are also ads, chauruses, giant boars, and some kind of dog, and if you didn't go to those side rooms for the buffs and turn the little dials, there's also a Bloodknight spawning in each phase and he really hurts, so watch out for that. Be super vigilant and stay mobile. You can't afford to stay still in this fight. As you can see, here's all the explodey fire things. Watch where all those circles are going to end up and then don't be in them. Now, the ads. It is very important that whenever an ad spawns, it becomes your primary focus. Forget the boss. Tank can just run around and deal with him. The ads have got to go, because if they aren't killed quickly enough, they're going to enrage, which means they will hit harder and become tankier. Usually what happens once an ad enrages is that's going to be a wipe, because as well as all the fire, you've got these things just running around one-shotting everybody. Make sure that the ads die priority one. Now, once you've got the boss down to about 60% health, he's going to go away and there's going to be those little pools that appear just like at the very beginning of this fight, before the fight actually started, where here they are. When you synergize them, you turn into a werewolf behemoth, and at this point the 4 stone husks all around the sides of the room are going to come to life. That's why we fight the boss back here, so that we're right close to them. Your number 1 skill in this form is a taunt. Use that and pull all 4 of these guys together. Your number 2 skill is a bit like shield charge. It's a gap closer that'll let you quickly close the distance between you and whichever enemy you're targeting. Your number 3 skill is like an interrupt. You can use that to interrupt the big circles that expand from these stone guys, because if they fill up and explode, you'll die. Your number 4 skill is a conal attack that works from a bit of range, and your number 5 is a heal, which after using it, it will light up again, and then you can use it like the frost breath, just like you've seen on the final boss of March of Sacrifices. The most important thing is going to be taking turns to use ulti, because whenever you use an ultimate, everybody else gets a synergy, which resets the timer on all of their skills, as well as giving them a massive bump in ulti generation. So very important, take turns using ultimates. Now, once all 4 stone husks are dead, the boss is going to be back, but this time he's got an awful poison mechanic instead of the radiating fire mechanic that he had from the first phase. So you see all these swirly green poison things, watch out for those. To make this a lot easier, we had the other 3 players jump up on this metal thing at the back of the room, shooting down at the boss. That way they avoid a fair amount of the AoE, though they're not safe from the boss himself or the ads or a lot of the other jumping flamey things that swirl around the room. So this is basically the same as the first phase. Tank is going to kite around avoiding all the poo on the floor while fighting the boss. Everybody else shoot the boss. And ads are going to spawn periodically. It's the same thing again. There'll be chauruses, wild boars, and some kind of dog monster thing. Make sure that once they spawn, they become your primary focus. They have got to die, and they've got to die as fast as possible. Otherwise, they will enrage, and they will just run around one-shotting everybody. It's quite terrible. So, whenever an ad is up, ad is more important than the boss. But that is all the mechanics for this second phase of the fight, so I'm just going to speed it up until we get him down to 20% health, at which point he's going to disappear, and it's the werewolf phase again. So, synergize the little pool to transform into a big hunky werewolf monster, and we're going to do the same thing we did before. Everybody taunt one of those those stone husks and bring them all together in the middle. You can take them off separately and fight them all one-on-one, but it's much easier to just bring them all together, and the reason for that is that somebody is going to get something on them called the murderous mark, and somebody else is going to need to taunt that wolf off of the person targeted, or they're going to die. There's also this ball being held up here with a big circle filling up. I talked about it last time. Somebody has to use their number 3 skill to interrupt that, because if that explodes, everybody dies. And same thing as I described before, take turns with your ultimates. Decide before time who's going to ulti when. One person ulti, everybody else synergize. Their cooldowns get reset on their skills, and they get a big bump in ulti generation. Take turns staggering ultimates, and it makes it much easier to take down all the stone husks. Now that they're dead, we're into the final phase of the fight. For the last 20%, the execute, the boss is going to be in sorcerer-style lightning form, and this is truly horrendous. Position yourself so that you are ready to run, because after you've been beating on the boss for a minute, he's going to do a move called bottled lightning. Big lightning patches are going to land all over the floor, and everybody gets a little marker under their feet to show them that they're being chased by more lightning, so you need to run like hell, but stay together, because periodically someone gets pinned and someone else will have to synergize to free you. Failing to free you is likely to result in your death, so stay together but keep moving to stay ahead of the lightning. Once you've gotten far enough away and all the lightning effects have stopped, you'll be able to stop and catch your breath for a minute and deal with any adds that have spawned, because we've got the same situation with the adds. We've got the pigs, the dog things, and the choruses. Whatever it is, it's got to die once it spawns. More important than the boss, and I cannot overstate that enough, they will enrage and one-shot everyone if you don't kill them quickly enough. If an ad is up, an ad is priority. So that is pretty much the extent of the mechanics for this final phase. The most important thing is going to be this bottled lightning mechanic. Whenever it happens, everybody stay together but run off. If you don't get away fast enough, someone's going to die. It's not worth risking going back to try to save them. Just keep moving, wait until the mechanic is over, then maybe you can go back and get reses. Everybody else stay together, because as soon as someone gets pinned, somebody else needs to unpin them. Otherwise, we end up with the domino effect of everybody getting stuck and everybody getting killed, and then you're starting this entire fight from the beginning, and that really sucks. Stay together. Make sure that you synergize whenever anybody gets pinned, and stay ahead of that lightning. If an ad spawns, the ad is priority, get it killed, then get back on the boss, and just slowly alternate between running away from lightning, whittling down any ads that have spawned, and then focusing on the boss as and when you have an opportunity. Don't consider this a mega DPS race. You don't have to be all tunnel visioned on the boss. Take your time, watch your footing, stay ahead of the lightning, but stay together. Synergize to unpin anybody who gets pinned, but keep moving, stay ahead of the lightning, kill the ads, work on the boss, and it's just that, over and over and over, until eventually either you win or you wipe, hopefully win. But that is all the mechanics for this final execute phase, so instead of wasting any more of your time, I'm just going to speed it up until he's almost dead, since you've seen this a couple of times and you know exactly what to do. Which is stay together, stay ahead of the lightning, and kill every ad. Alright, activity complete, super dank. Go loot your lockpicks, your star metal, your manganese, and all your other junk, and shove it in your bag, because we are done here. Thank you for watching. Remember to like and subscribe and press the bell so you never miss a video, and all the other YouTuber lines that I'm supposed to say. Here's the thing that shows all the things with all the socials if you are a social media type of person and want to follow us over on any of these platforms. And the YouTube, why is that here? This is YouTube. Anyway, come check out the stream at twitch.tv/Catatonia.